Hey everybody, and welcome to Bugbears and Brews. I'm Brian, for those that don't know me. And I figured I've done a few D&D videos, but I haven't done any beer videos yet, so it's time to fix that. Um, what we have tonight is what I call the Brown Sugar Blondie. It was brewed mid-September. This one's going to be a little bit of an experiment, though, because I opened one yesterday and it was super carbonated. So I popped all the tops yesterday, let out some of the carbonation, and then recapped. So hopefully we'll see a little bit less carbonation today, and I'll actually be able to drink it versus it just foaming up all over the place. A little bit about this beer. It was a hodgepodge of let's just make a recipe and see what happens with it, with a lot of leftover pieces we had laying around from other brews. So we kind of tried to make the best of what we had laying around just for an off week and see what's going on here. So it has some LME in it. I don't remember. I'm guessing it's light given that it's a blonde, but I'm not 100% on that. I can look up the recipe and look if anybody has questions on that later. It has some flaked wheat as well as some crystal tin. And then my dad is a big fan of putting carafoam in all our beers because he likes head retention, and carafoam's good for head retention. As far as hops goes, we had Simcoe going on up front. Not a lot because Simcoe's a pretty powerful hops there. But Simcoe's a lovely hops if you're not familiar with it. It's the one that's using Hop Slam is a big Simcoe hop beer there. And then we had some Santium at the end there for a little bit of spiciness. So, as far as the yeast was an American ale yeast from White Labs. We're big White Labs guys. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it here and see what happens. I have my lovely A3 disc golf guy there. Let's listen. No massive foam coming out the top. That's good. We'll pour that up a little bit higher there so we can see it. Still getting a little bit more head than I would like for pouring it as slow as this is. Actually, no, it's coming out pretty decent now. All right. That's enough for a sample, wouldn't you say? Color's nice, beautiful color for a blonde. A little bit translucent, you can see through it some. A little bit of hop smell to it, not too malty. Definitely still looks a little bit on the carbonated side from the interior though. Let's give it a try. Definitely sits a bit bubbly on the tongue, but it's drinkable. We've had one or two other super carbonated beers that even after doing the cap releasing pressure and whatnot, that just were very aggressive on the tongue there with the bubbles. But this actually is not bad at all. I hope the rest of them are like that. All right. So, given that this is a hodgepodge beer and just with stuff laying around, I'm pretty happy with it. It's what I would consider this is like a very intro craft beer. There's not as much brown sugar flavor as I was hoping. Granted, I didn't expect to get a lot. We added a half pound of light brown sugar within the last 5 minutes of boil. I was hoping to get a little bit of molasses flavor in there. It also made it a little bit darker for a blonde. But I think we still were within the color spectrum. If you're going by, is it truly a blonde? I think it's still within the color spectrum there. So I would like to have a little bit more brown sugar there. I think that'd be really fun in a blonde. I like that it's kind of a wheat profile to it. I'm a big wheat flavor beer guy. The hops, we didn't have, I think altogether, we had less than an ounce of hops between these. Granted, blondes typically aren't that hoppy, but I still would like a little bit more hoppiness to come through on this. It's almost wheat beer-esque to me, which is not bad. Like I enjoy that, but I think if it was just a little bit more hoppy bite, it might make me a little bit more happy with it. Got a good mouthfeel, nothing wrong with that there. Smells pretty, looks pretty, tastes pretty. I would say this is a very intro to craft beer. So if you had somebody who was not very big into craft beers or they never really tried one, this would be a really good one to give them. It's not going to be super aggressive towards them. It's not something out of the the wheelhouse. A good example is my father-in-law. He's a great guy, but he's coming around to craft beers now that I've been brewing for a few years. And whenever he comes over, he normally has a beer or two. But he's one of those guys that typically you see drinking Bud Lights or Miller Lights. I forget what his uh, MGD. Thank you, my love. Miller Genuine Draft is his typical go-to beer. But this one here, he is actually over here tonight, and instead I gave him a Kolsch. I think he would have been just fine with this beer. I think it would sit pretty with most people. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off here, but I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my beer with my wife, I think. So cheers, everybody, and I hope to do a couple more beer videos in the future, hopefully once a week, but we'll see.